Hey, what's going on, Shrimp Keepers? It is Shrimp Saturday, and I wanted to do something really special for this Shrimp Saturday. And I wanted to share with you how I kind of got into this business and how I started Flip Aquatics and having all these tanks and just kind of how it all came about and kind of share a little bit of my passion and, my journey with you guys. And so I'm going to go ahead and get into that. And I hope you guys enjoy this because it's a little piece of my heart that I really don't share with too many people. But it's kind of cool how God just kind of walked me through all this. And I don't know if you guys are religious or not, but I'm religious. And yeah, it's just really cool how just everything kind of worked out and how it still keeps working out even when I doubt it sometimes. So it's really cool. And you guys are a huge part of that. So that's why I kind of just want to share with you a little piece of my heart. But it all kind of started in 2013. I was just graduating college. I got a degree in accounting and business, and I competed in this business challenge and I did really well in it. And me and my partner placed really well in the overall world rankings. And so a business guy that was local to my college saw it in the newspaper because my college posted this thing because to them it was big news. And so this guy reached out to me and said, hey, I saw this article. Actually, it's actually a little bit different than that. So my parents own an electrical company, and I helped them for some money on the side. And I was actually working at the doctor's house. And my grandma called to congratulate me. And the doctor overheard me. He said, hey, I just read that in the newspaper. He's like, that's really cool. He's like, I'm actually just getting ready to start a business. And if you guys don't know, my two passions in life are shrimp and business. I love business and I love shrimp and aquariums. And so anyway, so this guy was like, hey, I'm getting ready to start a wellness center. He's like, I really need someone that understands business to start it for me. And I'm like, man, that sounds great. I was like, that's exactly up my alley. That's what an honor, what a privilege to be able to get out of college and doing exactly what you want to do. And so in my mind, this was his dream job. So I went and met with him, and he's like, listen, like I can't afford to pay you what your degree would normally make. And so I think he offered me, I really don't remember, might have been like $10, $11, $12, I don't know. And for going to school for 4 years and paying all this money for an education, it's not a ton of money. I mean, it's decent money. It's good money. I'm not going to complain. But anyway, so he's like, I'll let you start this business. I'll give you a percentage of the sales, and it will be great. And I'm like, oh man, that's awesome. Like, what an honor. And so I sat down, I planned out this business, and we started it, and there were some hiccups along the way because I got some bad data from his side based on how many referrals we would have and all this stuff. But anyway, so I did it for about a year and a half. The business was doing really good. We finally got to the point after a year where we were making money, which is like unheard of. Most businesses take 3 years to really get going. And so we were finally making money. Me and him were meeting. He's like, listen, like, I love that you're running this business. He's like, I don't even have to think about it. He's like, how about we give you a percentage of ownership and you can just kind of run with this for the life of it. And I'm like, I mean, what 21-year-old, I might have been like 22, 23. What 22, 23-year-old gets an opportunity like that? So I'm like, I'm in. He's like, yep, write up a proposal, what you think is fair. And so I wrote it up, and I think I said like we'd be 70-30 partners, something like that, and I would run it for the life of the business. And everything was good, and we had a verbal agreement. And so I got it up on paper, and I ended up meeting with him to sign it. And he was like, yeah, so we're running through the numbers, and we still owe this much money on the business for it to pay for itself. Because when we were actually making money, it means that we weren't in the red every month, so we were actually in the black. And so we were making money per month, even though we hadn't recovered the initial investment that we spent. And so he's just like, yeah, so what are your thoughts on that? I'm like, honestly, the only difficulty we're having right now is that my salary. And I was like, well, once I'm an owner in the business, then I won't have a salary. I'll just make money based on how much the business makes. That was our agreement. And he's like, oh. And I was like, yeah, so my salary, once it's eliminated, we'll be doing really good. And so he's like, oh, okay. And so he ended up not signing the paper. He said he was going to take it to his attorney. And so about a month goes by, and things started getting a little fishy. And so I kind of shot myself in the foot. I told him that if he didn't have my salary, that the business would actually start making money. And it's a long story, but needless to say, we disagreed with the course the business was going to take. And so needless to say, we parted ways. And it was a tough thing because I had a lot of respect for him. I really did value his friendship, and I kind of got burnt a little bit. But I never did get that commission that he promised. And even when we're parting ways, he's like, "I'm still gonna get a check to you. I appreciate all the hard work you did." And I never did get it. But that's not me to go out and try to beg or try to hustle for money or whatever you want to call it. If you don't want to send me a check, then that's fine, and we just won't work together anymore. And so that was the kind of way that I handled it. And so needless to say, I was in a tough place because I went from this point where I had my dream job and everything was going great to all of a sudden everything was falling apart around me. And so in a matter of a week, I thought, I went from thinking that I'm going to be a business owner to having nothing. And so at the beginning of the story, I told you guys that my dad and mom own an electrical company, and they're residential electricians. Or my dad is a residential electrician. My mom handles all the books. And so my dad's like, "Well, hey, you know how to do this, and you've been working with me for quite a few years." He's like, "How about we just pull you on full time?" And I'm like, "Okay." Again, my parents' business, it's really not my passion, but it's something I was decent at. And so I'm like, "Okay, we'll try it out." And so I started working with them. I worked with them for about a year. And at this point, I was like, I started a business from scratch with the doctor. And I made it in the course of a year to be a pretty much successful business. And so I was like, I feel like I can really take a run at another business, and I feel like I could do it on my own. So I had a little confidence. And so at this point, the YouTube channel was just getting big, and I was really excited with the course that it was going. And so much feedback was coming in on the shrimp, and they're like, "Man, we need someone that sells United States bred shrimp, blah, blah, blah." And every time I was buying shrimp, I was having problems with them because everything was imported. It was coming in with parasites and diseases, and I saw the problem too, but I didn't realize it until you guys started pointing it out. And so I'm like, man, I love aquariums. I absolutely love them. I love shrimp. It's a huge stress relief for me. And I love business. And so I was like, man, let me put my two passions together. And so my grandpa actually lives in Atlanta, and he started a nonprofit, and he ended up doing really, really well with it and being extremely successful. He wrote a few books, and some were bestsellers, and now he travels the world talking on these books, all nonprofit. I mean, he's an amazing guy, someone I truly look up to. And so I reached out to him, and I'm like, "Hey, what do you think I should do? What are my first steps?" And he's like, "Honestly, I know some investors." He's like, "You write a business plan, and I'll connect you with the right people." And so I'm like, okay. So I sat down, I paid for a software to write a business plan. I sat down, I did all the research, went through all the information, everything that they told me I should have in there. I spent the time to do it. It took about 4 months, and I really went through it with a fine-tooth comb. And then I sent it over to my grandpa, and I'm like, "Hey, proofread this. Tell me what you think." And after about a day, he got back to me with a couple questions, and I answered the questions with him. And within 3 days, I think I raised like $25,000. And I was just blown away, absolutely blown away. And so I'm like, man, this is coming together. This is getting big. And really, it is emotional for me. I might get a little emotional just telling you guys the story, because it's crazy how God works, and how I went from having absolutely my dreams torn away from me to going into something that honestly was way more than I could have ever expected. And so I ended up raising all the money that I needed to start this business and get it going. And I didn't know how to do carpentry. I didn't know how to build stands. I didn't know how to make lighting for fish tanks. I didn't know how to plumb. I knew none of it. And I kind of just was expecting to pay someone to come in and do it, but that fell through. And I kind of just learned as I went, and I had some amazing people come alongside of me. And just a real quick sidetrack, Mark, I know I pointed him out in a video. He's a tall guy that looks like Haggard. We did a fish room tour on his thing. As soon as I started this business, he was around. I met him. I bought some tanks off him and another buddy. And Mark truly just came on board and started helping me for free. and he gave so much of his time. I mean, he was here every day for 5 days a week, pumping this out and helping, teaching me how to build stands, showing me how to do plumbing, and everything just came together. And I mean, it's unbelievable. It's absolutely unbelievable. And so, with all that being said, I don't want to say that this is easy, because it's not easy. It's not just a walk in the park. I mean, every day is so stressful, but you just kind of gotta look back at where you came from. And so I started this business, and for a year, I didn't really sell anything, because again, I believe in United States bred shrimp, and I mean, you can't just breed shrimp overnight. They take time. So after a year, I finally had enough to where I could start selling. I got connected with Dustin from Dustin's Fish Tanks. He kind of coached me. He turned me on to his website guy, and we got a website built, and I started selling shrimp, and everything just kind of started falling together. And there were months where, like, I didn't have rent. I didn't have money for utilities. You know, I'm working with my parents doing electrical just to make money to pay for this building, and it just hustling. And then you guys, I started doing a video. I started saying, hey, I'm selling, I'm doing this, and you guys just came through in such an amazing way. I started doing Shrimp Saturday videos, and you guys started buying these shrimp, and you're the reason that I get to do this every day. Because you guys, if you just stopped buying from me, I would be completely SOL, and I wouldn't have a business. And so still to this day, like, I don't make money. I really don't. But you know, hopefully there's a point when I do. And but for now, I get to do what I love, and I come here and I enjoy it, and I do get stressed out, and I do have days where I want to quit, and I have days that I want to give up. But at the end of the day, the business isn't about making money. It's truly about me doing what I love and being able to grow a hobby that I love, and I get to do it with amazing people like you. And so you guys are truly the reason that I am here today. You guys are the reason that I decided to do this business. And it's amazing how God, again, orchestrated everything. And so I just can't wait to see where we go, and see how much farther we go with this. And it's so amazing. And no, you know what? To touch on one more thing, just the last thing, and then I'll wrap it up. I was selling royal blue tigers, and that was like my go-to thing. You know, I started breeding them like crazy. I put a lot of work into them, and you guys really responded well to that. And I started getting known for these royal blues. So one day, this cute, fine little lady sends me a message on the Flip Aquatics Facebook page, and she's like, hey, you know, I'm looking to get royal blues in the future. I'd love to buy them from you. I heard great things about you. You know, she's buttering me all up. And my first impression is like, man, this girl's like 22, 23, and she's hot. She's hot. And I'm like, man, I didn't know there was such good-looking girls out there doing shrimp. And so I started talking with her, and again, she had no idea what I looked like, because it's just a Flip Aquatics Facebook page. And I looked on her Facebook page, and I'm like, oh, she has a boyfriend. That sucks. And so I just kind of wrote it off. We had a good conversation. And then about 3 days go by, and she messaged me on my personal page. I'm like, man, this chick's kind of a creeper. And so I started laughing, and we just started talking. And honestly, like I'm just a good guy. Like, I'm not gonna pursue someone that has a relationship. I'm not gonna do that kind of stuff. Like, that's not who I am. Like, I don't know. So she was messaging me, and I was just kind of blowing it off, like, you know, whatever. And so about a month goes by, and she's single, and I'm like, man, that's weird. And so I'm like, well, you know, she's single, you know, I could start talking to her. And so we just message back and forth and stuff like that. And next thing you know, 6 months goes by, and I go to the aquatic experience with Dustin from Dustin's Fish Tanks, and I meet this guy that is from Indiana, and he owns a pet store. And he's like, man, I'd love to have you come out. And I was like, yeah, you know, I'd love to do shrimp wholesale at some point. You know, I'd come out and teach you how to do shrimp and all that stuff. So he's like, well, let's set it up for next month. You'll come out and show me what's going on. We can hopefully make a deal. And that would be great. And it turns out that his pet store is exactly where this girl lives. And I'm like, man, what? You know, what's the chances? And so I go out there, and before I go, I tell her, I'm like, listen, like, this has been like 6-7 months that we've been like messaging back and forth, FaceTime, and just getting to know each other. And I'm like, listen, this guy from this pet store wants me to come out, like no gimmicks, like I'm really going out there to see him. But since I'm going to be out there, would you want to meet up? And she's like, yes, like let's meet up. And honestly, like from day one, I met her, and I just been head over heels ever since. And a year after we met, we got married, and that's who I just married this past couple weeks. And so I tell everyone, if nothing came of this business besides spreading the hobby and meeting the love of my life, it was all worth it. And that's what it's all about. I mean, again, God is so good that if you saw me 3 years ago in beginning of 2014, working for the doctor, the opportunity to have this awesome business and work with some amazing people at the time, I would have told you that I was living the dream. I had everything that I wanted. I was exactly where I wanted to be. And then after that all came crashing down, I never thought that I would ever get back to the point where I felt that way. And now I'm to the point where, like, again, I couldn't be more blessed. Even though there's days that I don't want to get out of bed, there's days that I don't want to come to this shop, there's days that I wonder how I'm going to meet my expenses. At the end of the day, at the end of the month, I am blessed. I am lucky. I get to do what I love. And I hope you guys know that I'm very sincere when I say all this. Like, I'm not saying this just to say it. Like, I truly believe it. And it's so cool. And so I'm so excited to see where this LupDiesel YouTube channel goes, and see where Flip Aquatics goes, and see the success and the amount of people we get to pull into this hobby and show shrimp to. And we have this international shrimp competition coming to the Aquatic Experience this November. And so it's crazy the amount of growth that we're seeing, and I'm so excited to be a part of it. And so you guys are awesome. I love you. I love you, I love you, I love you, because without you guys, I wouldn't be me. So thank you for getting me to the point where I am today, and thank you for everything you guys have done along this journey. So you guys make it an absolute great week. I'm gonna go enjoy my honeymoon with the love of my life, and just keep taking day by day by day and enjoying every second of every day. So you guys are awesome. Make it a great week, and I'll talk with you guys soon. Later.